Welcome to Clean Up This Hot Mess. I'm Tosh. I'm the narrator, the storyteller, and the main star. So I have a friend right now that's going through some issues. I just need to know somebody else's opinion because I thought it was my opinion to tell her. I told her when I left that job to leave that job, but now it comes into full circle. So she's been having issues in quite a lot of places there, and I told her that type of management is not good for the psyche. I know she increased her cigarettes and that nature, but let me get into the story. So she called me last week and she was like, girl, you won't believe this, I got suspended for 5 days. I'm like, for what? Now, mind you, she's been at her job for 10 years. It had transferred from management to management. It had transferred from owner to owner during the process. This particular management is not good for the building anything. This is a sensitive area for a lot of people, so just be mindful. So she said she had got suspended for 5 days. And I'm like, wait, what happened? She was like, I got into it with this, we're going to call her Tammy. I got into it with Tammy, and we both got suspended for 5 days. I said, hold on, back up, tell Tammy what's going on. She said the weekend that her and Tammy had to work, Tammy walked up to her and got to a big argument because they wouldn't lay a resident down. And that resident supposed to be laid down 30 to an hour minutes after eating because due to COVID, they cannot have them sitting in a chair because they do not have other activities. Mindful in mind being said that when it comes to that situation, people have their own intertwines of how they deal with their residents, but I get it. I'd rather go on the side of precaution than anything else. So, when it comes to her, when that resident wouldn't get let down, she called management. Management was like, well, if she don't lay her down, then I won't call her and I'm going to have her make it. And if she doesn't do it then I'm going to send her home. So she went through all that trouble for this young lady, Tammy, to yell at her. And you can hear her yelling through the echoes of the hallway where we're not even going to get into the drunk cook because she's a drunk. And yes, she's a drunk cook. Decided that she was going to chime into their conversation. So let's fast forward a couple of days. So during that process, she even said like, hey, me and Tammy ain't getting along together. Can I do my rounds with someone else? She said, fine, cool, and dandy. So while she was doing her rounds with somebody else, that Tuesday popped around. Okay, it was fine. She did it with the head person, the head lead for second shift. And that next Wednesday pop around, she did it with one of the other girls because she was running late. Mind you, she left out like, okay, let me do my rounds. Me and Tammy ain't getting along together. Did her rounds. All right, she headed out the door. Drunk cook, we can call her drunk cook. She a drunk. Drunk cook came out and said, oh, so-and-so, did you clock out? Because I didn't even see you back there. She's like, oh my God, I forgot. She went back in the building. You hear the management saying, where is so-and-so? She's like, I'm right here. Well, why didn't you do rounds with Tammy? Well, I told you because me and her wasn't getting along. And she was like, well, you don't supposed to do that. That's not your choice or option. You supposed to do rounds with her. So you need to go do rounds with her. And she said to her face, but you said that I don't have to since me and her have not been getting along as long as I do rounds with somebody. No, you have to do it with her. That's where it goes back there. So she ended up calling both of them in the office saying that, she heard about the argument that happened over the weekend. And she suspended them both for 5 days. Mind you, my friend was like, why? Why am I getting suspended? Well, because I don't like the attitude that you brought. So when she finally got home, she didn't get to her phone right in time. So then that's when she got the 5-day suspension, saying that she was being disobedient. She was being disobedient and she was not listening, and that was not her choice to make. So this is her 5-day suspension. So she calls me all furious, mad, huffy and puffy, just all the way mad. So she is so sweet, but there's always two sides to a coin. You pissed her off, you pissed her off. She's not, I keep telling her forgiveness is part of the lifestyle, but it's hard for her to forgive. So she calls me ranting about the whole situation. I said, okay, I'm going to find me another job. I said, you said this several times. I told you to leave when I left, because when I left, I was boom. You will never, ever threaten my job, boo-boo. You will never find me on unemployment line. Keep that in mind. Who, if she even watching, I will never be on unemployment line. Don't ever threaten me like that again, Bookie. Back to what I was saying. Anyways, so that was my little rant. My bad. So she was going and saying that she looking for another job and everything else. So I told her to apply at this place, that place, this place, that place. Well, I don't want to do this, and I want to do that. So I'm like, all right, well, you need to tell me what you want to do, and then call me back when you want to do. So a couple of days go by. She was like, girl, guess who called me? We're going to say the house man. There's a higher management than house manager. So house manager called her, and this is exactly what she told me. She was like, girl, you won't believe this. Why did the management go into the house manager's office and say, hey, can you put hours in for such and such? She looked at her and said, why? She's like, just do it. Now, such and such is her daughter. If you came up with the mindset, yes, this chick is embezzling from the company. I figured it out because I couldn't figure out how. In the previous, I had suspicion, but she embezzling the money because her daughter have never worked there, but her daughter been on the books for 3 years. Never stepped a foot in there. Been on the books for 3 years. Maybe 3.5 now. You tell me. That ain't embezzling. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, I was like, you need to go to headquarters and tell them, like, no, I don't want to rat them out. I don't want to do this. I want to do that. So you have to be one of two things. You got to be scared of her, or you still consider her as a friend after all the shenanigans that she pulled along the way. I don't know really what to tell her. And I'm like, I'm being a friend. I'm listening. But I told her to leave that job and told her to go to headquarters. Even if you want to write an anonymous letter, go to the library, type it up, print it off, seal it, no address, just drop it in an email box and just see how the cookie crumbles. Because somebody like that, in that type of state of mind, does not belong in that type of circumstance. I'm not saying it's all true, all not true, but there are receipts, and I'm not going to say anything. Just know there are receipts. I think this might be a part 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to consider this part 1, part 1, part 1. Because this is not an isolated incident. It is not even something that's going to stop. But it'd be interesting to find out exactly how far this rabbit hole will go. Well, we'll go at the end of that story. If you like what you heard, I suggest you like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you next one. Stay beautiful.